3, 2. Alright guys, we're back with another WrestlingRumors.net review show. Tonight we are reviewing NXT Takeover Unstoppable, coming to you live from Full Sail University, May 20th, 2015. Sam Daley, I am Adam Daley. Sam, what did you think of the show overall?
It's phenomenal. Blew all the other ones out of the park, and we say that every time.
They keep topping themselves from event to event. It's a really strange thing. Every time we say, how can it get better? And it does.
It does.
They always one-up each other. All right, let's start the show off. It started with Finn Balor versus Tyler Breeze for the #1 contender for the NXT Championship. Surprised it opened the show. Fantastic match to open the show.
I was surprised it opened the show, but it got you amped up just by the entrances alone.
And that's what you want out of your opening match. You really want to get the crowd engaged early on. That's always what you want out of an opening match. I'm actually, in a way, I was surprised they opened with this match, but I was very, very happy that they did afterwards because it got the crowd amped up. It didn't really feel like there was any lulls in the show. I think it set the tone early.
And both guys had some sort of new entrance.
Okay.
And they're both wearing capes, too, by the way.
Well, real quick, obviously, Finn Balor gets the pinfall with the coup de grace. So he is your new #1 contender. Sam, between the two entrances, we got a little new war paint, so to speak, out of the dark passenger side of Finn Balor. Tyler Breeze, we had a little runway show, kind of Zoolander-esque going on. I guess this is the spring 2015 edition.
Yeah.
Which entrance tweak did you like better?
You actually took the words right out of my mouth. It was very Zoolander-esque. I loved it. When I saw it, I imagined like him being on Raw and having Zoolander and Hansel.
Please capitalize on that, WWE, please.
Being the special guest and having him come out and being like, I'm better at this than Zoolander. It was so perfect with the girls in the Tyler Breeze outfits and everything. I loved it. Finn Balor's I've seen before, so I guess I geeked out more over Tyler Breeze. Scratch that. I geeked over Finn Balor, too, because of all the little extra things, the horns on his back and the cape.
I liked it. I liked the new paint. I dug the new entrance a little bit. I'm going to have to go back and watch it again. But if he's going to keep changing the paint and keep altering that, it's going to be so awesome.
See, I thought he was going to do complete new paint.
Yeah, just little tweaks here and there, I think, or where they're going to
do little tweaks, probably.
We did see before this match, though, after Tyler Breeze came to the ring, they cut to a backstage segment where it showed Hideo Itami laid out in the parking lot. They scratched it up to what they were calling a torn rotator cuff, and then he was just laying out in the parking lot, some NXT talent surrounding him, and Kevin Owens just walked past and said, "What a shame."
It's unfortunate.
What a shame. So, now where do you think? Do you think it was the right way to put Itami off TV?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if he was already injured and he was supposed to be in this match, the only way to do it is to somehow take him out before the match.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm glad they addressed it early. I'm glad they addressed it.
They didn't just not put him in the match and say, get on the ring and say, Hideo Itami's hurt, he's not going to be here. They at least took him out before the pay-per-view started.
What I like too is there's no concrete evidence on who it is. It's very reminiscent of the old Rikishi angle when everyone who ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin, so to speak, and people were guessing, out of left field, right field. So I like that they didn't address that so that they could use it later on. I thought that was very smart, very intelligent on their part. All right, so we moved next to our first of two women's matches of the night. We had Emma and Dana Brooke teaming up against Charlotte and Bayley. Charlotte and Bayley getting the pinfall over here. Charlotte pinning Emma. What did you think?
I loved it. I thought that double DDT that Charlotte did was fantastic. Have you ever seen a woman do a double DDT before?
I'm sure, but let's face it,
rare.
Charlotte puts it on a whole nother level.
Rare,
yeah,
yes.
I mean, Charlotte and Sasha, we got a lot of women we're going to talk about.
The women always do great and outperform on NXT, so it was amazing. I wasn't surprised that they did really well. I'm just shocked that they had two women's matches on NXT.
I'm not. They're stealing the shows.
They steal the shows and they do so great, but I mean, it's a 2-hour time span and they have two women's matches.
Well, you have to look at it this way, too, and we'll touch on this once we get to the Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch match. They were chanting, "This is wrestling," during a women's match. And, I put a joke out there, and I'm sure it doesn't burn them, but how do you think that makes a lot of the main roster feel when, and granted, it's a smaller venue, it's a more passionate crowd, and we understand all that, but when you have, during a women's championship match, an entire arena, granted, yes, understand, microscopic compared to a Raw arena or a SmackDown arena, but when you have an entire arena chanting, "This is wrestling," does it worry you a little bit if you're on the main roster?
It's got to be frustrating to be a woman on the main roster simply because they are still used as simply eye candy.
Right.
They don't really put much background into the storylines for the matches. They don't really let them go long in their matches and do a lot of technical stuff in them. So it's got to be really frustrating to be a woman on the main roster and have to watch the women in NXT just steal the shows.
Well, hopefully this gets alleviated pretty soon, because I have a feeling we're going to be seeing Charlotte a little sooner than later when it comes to main roster status. So we'll just keep our eyes peeled for that. Next up was the slugfest between Rhino and Baron Corbin. And, I mean, this was called Unstoppable. These were two brute forces coming together. Baron Corbin picking up the win via end of days. Sam, what did you think?
I'm not usually a big fan of like the bigger guys with doing just a slugfest, but this was really good. It legitimately looked like they were just beating the crap out of each other. Yep. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Touche Baron Corbin.
It was a great match, and that's one thing. They have something hot with Baron Corbin right now. I mean, he has a look to him, he has a presence, and he's one of those guys that really doesn't have to say much.
No, not at all.
He's just one of those guys, intimidating look. You know, he's just... And the ink obviously helps. I mean, coming from an ink guy, I love it. But it's one of those where he's a cat that doesn't have to say a lot. He can go out there. And it was great seeing Rhino back. Again, you know, it's always great seeing Rhino here and there. But think about this. Rhino is 39 years old. So this is, I think, when you know you have something special in NXT. When you have somebody that's, you know, about to turn 40. And not saying that's old by any stretch of the imagination. But saying that you could really do whatever you want with wrestling at this point. And you're coming back to NXT to help season, you know, younger guys, help put over younger guys. It says a lot about the magic that's happening down at Full Sail. And anywhere NXT goes, you know, we give Full Sail a lot of praise because that's technically their home. But now that they're branching out, it really shows that there's something special going on, you know, with this, whether it's, you know, with the minor leagues, so to speak, however we want to call it, whether it's an alternative, whether it's this, it's still underneath WWE umbrella. But it's very, very captivating right now.
This was my least favorite match of the night, and it was an amazing match.
That's
the sad part about this. I was going to say
the same thing. It was still a fantastic match, and this was probably the match that was like, well, this and a tag match were probably like, but there were still great matches, you know. After this, we cut to an Owens promo in the back. Basically, Kevin Owens, normal Kevin Owens promo. We know what we got here. And one thing that I liked about it, though, was him recognizing the fact that the NXT Championship means more than the United States Championship.
Yes, it does.
So, and of course, we'll get back to Mr. Owens and the United States Championship a little bit later on in this, but this flips it to the Tag Team Championship match. Enzo and Big Cass featuring Carmella versus Blake and Murphy, the Tag Team Champions. Blake and Murphy picking up the pinfall victory because of some interference by one Alexa Bliss. Sam.
I didn't see Alexa Bliss coming out. Like we had discussed before, we had the thought that maybe Carmella was turning.
Absolutely.
But I lost it when Alexa Bliss came out and was like, distraction! But no, it was a great tag match, though I kept getting distracted by Blake's pigtails. That's all I kept looking at, were his pigtails. It was so silly.
I feel like they were channeling their Jericho 1997, Jericho 1998, you know. And one thing I'll say is they were making Big Cass look very strong tonight. I mean, that's one thing we were talking about, you know, with a lot of the guys tonight. They were making Colin Cassidy look very strong.
Which I don't understand why they can't do that with Roman Reigns. They made him look amazing, and all he had to do was step in the ring, and the other guys were making him look huge.
You have to understand that with Roman Reigns, though, and let's not talk about main roster stuff, but with Roman Reigns, though, it's not necessarily what he's doing, it's the fan reaction.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with it. WWE is booking him correctly. It's just the fan reaction that's the kickback. So, now, what do you think this plays out for Enzo, Big Cass, Carmella, and then Blake Murphy and Alexa in the future?
Just another feud. I want to see Carmella and Alexa Bliss go at it for a while.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Now, a match that everyone predicted was going to steal the show tonight, in my opinion, did steal the show. Becky Lynch taking on the NXT Women's Champion Sasha Banks like a boss. Ooh, like a boss. Now, this is where we have the This Is Wrestling chance. I mean, this, to me, was Wrestling 101, Sam.
Definitely. I believe that Mick Foley called this a couple weeks ago. He said weeks ago that he believed that the Divas match was going to steal the show at this event, and it definitely did. They were going hard at each other. They were doing technical matches. I love the fact that Becky Lynch came out with the new hairdo and kind of like a
Sheamus hair.
Yeah, the Sheamus hair and like the steampunk outfit that she had with the goggles and everything. I loved it. It made me love Becky Lynch even more than I already did.
And Sasha Banks picking up the win on the Banks statement off a reversal. And the one thing I'll say about this is Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, they understand ring psychology.
Yes, they do.
The back and forth between these two, the reversals, the interchange, the pacing, everything was so well done in this match. I really felt like this was one of the best women's matches, and women divas, whatever we're going to label them. This was one of the best women's matches I've seen in a very, very long time. And that's something we say every pay-per-view,
like
every
Trish
NXT pay-per-view too. We could toss it. I mean, listen, Natty and Charlotte had some excellent matches.
They did.
You know, there was something about this match that stood out to me. All right, let's get to the main event. Kevin Owens coming in as the NXT champion against Sami Zayn, who we kind of thought was a little hobbled up. This is where all hell really breaks loose.
I love the fact that Kevin Owens came out in John Cena's U.S. title t-shirt.
So good. And I love that he had his t-shirt on underneath John Cena's t-shirt. Obviously, this one goes to basically a known contest. It's Kevin Owens it starts off great. I mean, they're fighting all over the arena. A couple great outside the ring spots. I really loved when Sami Zayn reversed out of the powerbomb by grabbing onto the step railing, so to speak. I don't really know the official name of it there. But basically stepping on grabbing onto the railing. There was a lot of, mainly this was more of a brawl just to get Sami Zayn off of TV. And then the surprise hits, something we talked about, What If, last week. We don't have to say What If anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Samoa Joe has arrived in the NXT arena and comes out face to face. What do we got?
I lost it. It was amazing. I can't wait for this feud. If they're really going to do this, which I'm hoping that they are. I'm hoping that it's not just he comes out and then in a few months he'll come in and they do a feud.
No, this is a feud.
I hope that he's actually in NXT now. He's going to be on weekly.
And this is a feud. And you know what? This is, I think, something that speaks volumes for NXT. Samoa Joe isn't a guy you're familiar with.
No.
At all. I mean, you've heard stories. You've seen couple matches here.
But I mean, I've never been into a company like fully like I am with WWE that Samoa Joe's been in. Right.
So you looked at, and we knew the rumors were out there. We knew that there could have been. We didn't know. And then all of a sudden he shows up. And guys, when I say she marked. I mean, as soon as the music started, she got a weird look on her face and I went, Joe! And she lost it. So it's one of those where when you can take somebody that is an excellent talent, that to somebody like you, and we'll say that you're not typically the common wrestling fan. You're more of a hardcore fan. You're just unfamiliar with Joe's work, so to speak. So for you, Joe is very foreign. And to have that excitement in somebody that really knows nothing about Samoa Joe at all, what does that say about NXT right now?
It was really more of the excitement that Triple H did this media call specifically to swerve people. Like we were talking about earlier on in the week, that this whole media call that Triple H came out with, and he was like, Samoa Joe was at the training facility a couple months ago. We only talked like 5 minutes. Not sure if we're going to do business with him. It was a complete swerve. And I love it. Well, I love that they're actually trying to swerve the media now.
Well, and it's beautiful because this is the reality era. And with the way social media, and let's face it, guys, we know with any social media outlet, for every real story, there's 6 fake stories. It doesn't matter whether it's weather, news, sports, politics, you name it, like bingo results, like there's 8 stories and only one's really true. And why not utilize that? It's the reality era. You really have a chance now to not only sway major media, sway everybody on social media. I mean, you could always pull the wool over everyone's eyes and constantly keep doing this if it's done smart, if you have the right people doing it. They have to stay tight-lipped. But this was, I think, a phenomenal way to end.
It was amazingly done, definitely.
Now, what do you think? Obviously, we are going to get, I would imagine, a Joe and Kevin Owens, feud going here. And I don't know if they've ever faced each other. In fact, I don't think they have. I could be wrong, but I don't think they've ever faced each other. This is a first. This is huge for wrestling enthusiasts.
This is like wrestling history for wrestling fans.
And didn't the Sami Zayn Owens match, even before, we had a hunch that it was going to be more of a squash match, but didn't it have a WrestleMania feel?
It still had a giant feel with William Regal coming out and attacking Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens knocking him down, and then Samoa Joe coming out. There was just so much going on in this match, even though most of it took place outside of the ring, which the crowd was so into it. The crowd was singing "John Cena sucks," "Olay" all over the place. There was
NXT
just so
crowd's
much.
Phenomenal.
They were so into this match, and it was just an amazing event put all together.
All right, so we always do this. Sam, spot of the night.
Spot of the night. It's either going to have to be Charlotte's double DDT or the DDT off the top rope by Enzo Amore.
Oh, nice. Okay,
that was a nice one.
The bank statement reversal off the top rope was so beautiful. I'm sorry. That was amazing. The bank statement off the top rope. That reversal was unreal.
Becky Lynch jumping through the ropes was a good spot. Especially for the Divas.
There was a ton of stuff tonight. I mean, Joe obviously is going to be the spot.
It's hard to pick out one spot.
Yeah. Match of the night.
Match of the night, definitely the Divas.
The Divas? Yeah.
Divas as in Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch.
They're women in NXT.
Well, their whole hashtag was Divas Takeover, so.
Okay.
They're not divas, they're women.
For me, I'm going to say the same. I mean, I think the match of the night was Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. Kudos, ladies. Kudos. Sam, letter grade this pay-per-view.
A+++++.
I'm giving it an A+.
I don't know what a better letter grade is than A+, because they superseded any expectations.
Well, it would be hard for me to letter grade down from the previous pay-per-view, only because I still think that they keep one-upping every pay-per-view. So I can't go backwards if it's better. You know what I mean? So yeah, I got to give it an A+. Got NXT. If you're not watching NXT, guys, you're missing out on a lot. You're missing out on really the old school classic. You have your characters, you have a couple guys that but it's more characterization. It does have that old school passionate feel to it. Smaller stage, intense crowd, and that's I think the only thing that really infuriates me with Raw. I get it, it's 15,000 people versus X number of people, but I feel like most cities, especially in America, they pay money to go sit on their hands at live events, and they just don't do anything. And I get it because they're casual fans. This is the kind of wrestling I want to see. Yeah. Passionate fans, passionate talent. Everybody from the fans to the talent, everybody just throws all they got out there, and in 2 hours you're exhausted.
Yeah.
I was more exhausted after this 2-hour event than I was after the past 3, really since WrestleMania. And those are all 3, WrestleMania is 4 hours, but everything since they're all 3-hour events. This is 2 hours, and I thought we got more out of 2 hours than we did with 3 hours and even filler and stuff like that.
I completely agree.
So, all right, guys, listen, NXT, thank you. Thank you once again. Guys, please make sure you're subscribing to our network, our YouTube channel right here, and subscribe to the WWE Network. Where else are you going to see NXT, guys? Make sure you're following Sam on Twitter at LadyNexus13. I am at Adam Daley 13. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at WrestleRumors. That's WrestlingRumors.net official Twitter handle. Please go to WrestlingRumors.net for all your wrestling needs, and make sure that you check out our videos, and we will see you next time.